Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome this Thursday afternoon to Tee Vee. I'm Karen Reeves Toppin from Key Inspirations, welcoming you to the fourth episode of our show. Key Inspirations, just in case you've never watched any of our episodes before, Key Inspirations is a business that caters to small and medium-sized enterprises and micro enterprises. And we offer an accountability service. So if you have started a business and you have set targets for yourself, but you're not accountable to anyone and you seem to keep missing your target, get in touch with us. If you want to progress, it's best to have someone to hold your hand, and Key Inspirations can do that for you. Today on Key TV, we are going to be featuring another small business owner, Miss Shareen Binns. I am so excited to be talking to Shareen today. Shareen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Oh, and we're excited to have you. When I met you, one of the things that you said to me, can you remember the first time that we spoke? Because we've never met. This is the first time we're meeting face to face.
It is.
But the first time that we spoke on the phone, you said to me, your voice sounds familiar. Do you remember that?
I do remember.
It's amazing how we can cross paths with people, not actually see their face, but there's something that kind of jumps out that lets you know you've been in contact with this person before.
Definitely. There's always going to be something that will resonate with you when you've crossed paths with someone. And for you, you've got a very distinctive voice. And so I remember your voice. We were on prayer calls together, so I remembered you from there.
Yes, we've been on prayer calls together. But today we're going to talk about your business. So what is the name of your business?
So it's SNB Consultancy, and it stands for Successful New Beginnings. I'm a life coach.
New beginnings.
Yes, Successful New Beginnings. I'm a life coach, but I like to consider myself a transformation coach because the work that I do with my clients is very transformational. And I also create and facilitate a series of workshops.
And tell me, it's a very interesting story how this all got started. So can you tell us a little bit about your background? And for our viewers, that was my cat. And she has left the building. I forgot she was behind my head. I literally forgot she was there. I literally forgot she was there. But yes, can you tell us a little bit about you, a little bit of a background about you, some of the things that you've gone through, and we're going to get around to how you are doing what you're doing today. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm 41 in a minute next week, and I was a probation officer, so my career-wise, that's the career that I was going into. I really wanted to work with people that were going through the criminal justice system and help people to rehabilitate. So that's where my passion was at the time. And I started my training back in 2004. My child at the time was 3 years old. I was a single mom. And really enjoyed the training, was, just going through and really looking forward to qualifying. And 6 months before I was due to qualify, I started to experience pains in one of my arms. And the pain became widespread around my whole body. And we went for a period of maybe about a year to 18 months trying to figure out, what the issue was. And I was finally diagnosed with fibromyalgia. But with that condition, it's a muscular condition, and it affects your, you have widespread pain. It affects your mobility. It can affect your concentration. You can have chronic fatigue. Your immunity system can be compromised sometimes. There's lots of things that come with it. And as the years have gone on, I find that there's another symptom or another issue that I wasn't prepared for. So throughout my training, it impacted on me having to take quite a lot of time off of work. So whilst the training should have been 2 years, it took me a little bit longer to qualify because, I was battling with this condition. And eventually in 2010, once I'd qualified and was doing the work, I was dismissed due to long-term ill health from work. So, I was dismissed. And at the time, there wasn't much known about the condition. So I think the issue was they weren't quite sure how to appropriately manage the situation. So I was saying, can I get maybe partial ill health retirement for 18 months and get my health back in order and then come back? And at the time, they were saying, well, it's not a chronic condition, but it's a condition that's reoccurring. So that was what the concern was. So they dismissed me. And, you know, sometimes you have to, had I not been dismissed, I'll say this, had I not been dismissed, I would have continued pushing through, and I wouldn't have taken the time to get to know my body and really figure out what was going on. And I needed to take the time out to kind of repair. But because I was training and, you know, that I had so much going on, I wasn't really focusing on my self-care in the way that I needed to. So as much as at the time it was quite distressing to be dismissed, on reflection, it was beneficial for me. That led me down the road of going to see somebody around employment and support. And when I was speaking to them about what it is that I did previously, they were saying, oh, well, you know, we're going to be rolling out a new role, which is an ex-offender specialist role. So when you're feeling better, how about you apply and you come and use your transferable skills over here and help ex-offenders get back into employment? And I thought, well, you know, why not? So I went into that role and I was doing that for about a year. But my health was steadily getting better, and I decided actually I want to go back to my first love, which was probation. So I did that, but they kept on calling me. Once I left, they kept on calling me. Oh, can you know, help this person out with their CV? Somebody needs to speak to you about disclosure, and there was really a need for my services. And so I broached the idea of creating my own service and coming back and delivering it to them on a self-employed basis. And that's how my first workshop was born. So my first workshop is dedicated to ex-offenders, helping them to get back into employment. And it was a series of 4. So we look at confidence and motivation. We look at interview techniques and skills, completing application forms, CVs, disclosure in writing, and disclosure in interview. And, you know, I take them from the beginning to the end.
Okay, so you were diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Yes.
Yes. And or even though you had all of the symptoms, you had your medication, but it didn't exactly take all of the pain away, did it?
No, the pain is there pretty much on a daily basis, and it's about pain management. What I've learned over the years is that, firstly, for me personally, medication, whilst it has its place, it doesn't necessarily work for me. I was in quite a demanding job, and therefore being on medication that caused me to be drowsy, sleeping for long periods of time, impacting on my concentration, it meant that I wasn't able to take the medication effectively and do my work at the same time. So I needed to find more holistic ways of managing the condition. And it's been a journey of finding out what really works. If I fast forward to where I am now, what I recognized is that particular job, in the way that it was, it's a high stress job. It's a very, very stressful job, a probation officer. So whilst I was doing all the things in the background, you know, taking the medication, doing my homeopathic treatments, you know, going down the natural remedy, looking at my diet, exercise, you know, massage, and all of those things that are very, very helpful, constantly being in an environment that you're having repeat stress isn't helpful for this type of a condition. So you're constantly kind of on a hamster wheel of feeling okay, feeling really, really ill, feeling okay, feeling really, really ill. And actually, you know, it wasn't helpful for myself or for my family or for the children. So I had to finally get to the point where I recognized I love working with people. I love helping people to, you know, transform their lives, get over any barriers or obstacles. I really enjoy doing that. But how can I do it in a way that's conducive to my health?
Yes. Okay. So in spite of your condition, you try to find a way that you could still be productive rather than just shying away and giving in to the condition. The condition did not define who you are.
No, not at all. And I have children. And so for me, at the time as a single mother, I wanted to be able to show my daughter that, you know, sometimes life is going to throw something at you that you didn't expect. But you can be creative and you can do things to overcome whatever it is that life throws at you. You don't have to sit down and say, okay, well, this is it. There's always something else. And sometimes you can't just speak to people and say, oh, you should try this or you should do it. You have to be able to be a living example. And that's what I wanted to be for my daughter. And so it was about finding something that I could do. I've got these gifts and I've got these skills, and it's something I'm very passionate about. I'm not going to stop because my body doesn't want to work in the way that I'm trying to push it. Maybe I need to understand how my body works and work that way.
And find another way, find another route, find another avenue.
That's it.
it's a bit of taking what you have in your hand and shaping it so that it becomes efficient, an efficient tool in your hands and allows you to be productive.
That's right. That's
Okay.
exactly it.
So you moved on from that stage. So you found a way to shape what it is that you are offering at the moment. So tell us about your products.
Okay. So as I said, the first workshop was the ex-offender workshop. And from there, I decided through my experiences to actually create something similar, but for people with chronic illnesses and disabilities. So it's a similar framework. We look at the confidence and motivations. What are your strengths? We look at how to disclose appropriately your health condition to your employer in a way that doesn't take away from who you are as a person and what you have to offer, but in a way where you can glean all the strengths that you've developed in managing your health. You've now got a unique set of tools that you can bring into any environment that you're going into. So kind of helping the person to reframe their experience in a positive way that they can use that's desirable to an employer. And then again, helping them with CVs and application forms and looking at stress management and anxiety reduction, because, when you have got a health condition, you have all of these thoughts, am I going to be good enough? Is my health going to impact on my ability to do the job? Am I going to be overlooked by somebody else that doesn't have a health condition? So it's kind of helping them to kind of put that in place and giving them the tools to manage the stress and the anxiety that kind of comes if you're trying to have this work-life balance. So that's included in the workshop. And then we have a self-care planning moment where we plan what your daily self-care is going to be. And that's something you should be doing all the time. And then your emergency self-care plan. So for myself, I do still experience flare-ups. So I need to know what I'm doing when I'm experiencing a flare-up. What can I do to kind of nip it in the bud early? So I've got my regular self-care plan, and then I have my emergency, what I call my emergency self-care plan. And so that's also included in the workshop. And then we finish with guided meditation and, tools and tips that the customers can leave with and take and utilize at home thereafter.
Oh, wow. I've heard people talk about self-care plan, meditation, what is it? Speaking of affirmatives, but I've never heard of an emergency healthcare plan. That's the first for me. How does one package or put together? What are some? You don't have to say all of them, but what are some of the components that would make up an emergency healthcare plan?
So I'll speak for myself. When I'm going into a flare-up or I'm experiencing a flare-up, there's specific things that I need to do in order to appropriately manage that. So sometimes I need to start to slow down. So I need to first of all recognize the precursors, if you like. So typically I might start to feel really fatigued, or I'll find that my concentration isn't what it was. And at that point, I might need to start upping some of the nutrients, looking at my diet. Have I started becoming slack in what it is that I'm eating? So let me up my nutrients. Let me maybe top up on my vitamins. Let me start doing more of what I was doing before. So if we're talking about, some, as you were saying, affirmations or meditations or things like that, it's about doing that with a bit more frequency. It might be booking myself in for an appointment for a massage, or things that I would be doing before, but I would be doing them as more of a once a month or a treat or something like that. In this moment, I need to top up and I need to be doing that with a bit more intensity in order to manage that particular flare-up. So it's knowing, okay, what are you going to put down? How are you managing your time during this time? This is not the time for me to be trying to push at 100% and get 101 things done. This is a time for me to prioritize what's important and what can be left for another time, so that I can get myself back to optimum health, and then I can go back full steam. So that's some of the things that I would include in my emergency self-care plan.
Okay, all right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. It does, especially if it is something. If you're in a situation that you're trying to manage, what you are aware of is a condition that you can do nothing about. So it's a lifelong condition that you are dealing with. So it does make sense to have a care plan and a care package, and then an emergency care package.
Yes.
Because go-getters like us, we just tend to go and go and go and go and go, and we forget sometimes that there is something else going on in ourselves that we need to maybe slow down and consider or take different paces of things. So it's great that you've got something like that going on. How has business been? When I say that, I mean, how has it been generally? And then how were you affected for the past 3 to 4 months?
Okay, so generally business has been quite good. I've been fortunate because with the workshops I was doing a lot of corporate work and I was doing work with work program providers, and so there was always work for me in that area. In terms of going into the life coaching, I work from home, and so obviously now with COVID and people shielding and quarantining, you can't just be having people come to the home, and everybody's at home also, so everybody's working from home, studying from home, so it changes the how it is that you can deliver the work. But we have technology, so we can do sessions over Zoom, over Skype, telephone consultations, and a lot of the workshops that I have, they're already preset, so I can do those virtually. I can share my screen, I can share the PowerPoints that I've got going on. I've already got worksheets created, so that means that I can deliver the work online, which is fine. In terms of COVID, I had quite a lot of work coming up with schools that was due to start just around the Easter time, and obviously schools are not operating as they were at that moment, and so that's been pushed back probably till September now.
Okay, so can you tell us some of the workshops that you actually deliver?
So the workshops is I've got Men Matters workshops. So those workshops are focused for males, and we're looking at modern masculinity, masculine vulnerability, and maladaptive behaviors. We do look at your willful outcomes and how it is that you can achieve your goals. We look at authentic self-expression, and those are specifically for men. And then I have the same, but specifically for women. So we're going through the same processes, but it's a forum where it's just women in that forum. And again, we're looking at, what are the vulnerabilities that women are facing? What are some of the maladaptive behaviors that we're using to cope with those vulnerabilities? How do we manage stress? Do we even recognize when we're stressed? And, there's a series that goes with that. So there's 5 in each of those. And then I have a similar workshop for teenagers and young people. That's something that I'm hoping to be rolling out in schools. And again, it's looking at how can we be our most resilient and most powerful self. So, at the moment, there's a lot with social media and people are trying to, a lot of comparing yourself to what other people are doing. And that's causing an impact on people's mental and emotional well-being, because it's kind of feeding into that not good enough vibration. I'm not good enough, I'm not doing what that person's doing, I should be doing what this person's doing. No, you should be doing what you need to be doing. And I think there's not enough of that being promoted, if you like. So particularly in lockdown, there's a lot of multiple streams of income, and you should be doing this and you should be doing that. And I think those things are very good. And if you're in a space where you can be doing that, great. But if you're not, you shouldn't beat yourself up. Be where you are, prioritize what you need to do for yourself, and you will get there. So it's about teaching people to be able to be authentic in their space, in themselves, and doing what's best for themselves so that they can get to their best outcome.
Okay, so I want to touch a little bit on this because You and I, we're Christians. So I want to ask, how much did you find your relationship with God and the church? How much did you find it played? How much of a role did it play in you overcoming your condition, acknowledging your condition, overcoming that it's there, and actually moving on to establish the businesses that you have?
It's about having faith, and it's about recognizing that there is power in faith, and there's strength in faith, and there's healing in faith. What I will say is that there's a period of time where sometimes you feel like if you pray and you ask for healing and healing, you're waiting for your healing, you're being passive. And sometimes when you're praying for something, it's not about you being passive or waiting for healing. It's about you taking active steps to promote the healing. So you'll have people in your networks and you'll have things that you need to be doing. You can't sit and do nothing. But what happens is when you actually start to take action and you're moving, things will be revealed to you. Somebody will, oh, have you heard about this? Have you tried this? And then you can start exploring different things that will be beneficial for your health and things that are feeding your spirit and uplifting you. Because actually, in order for you to feel well, I feel, you need to be able to also be of service to others because your cup gets filled. There's nothing better than the feeling you have when you've helped somebody overcome something or you supported somebody over there. There's not a greater feeling that you can get, and it's inspiring and it's uplifting. And regardless of what's going on for you, if you can help somebody else smile, you can help somebody else solve a problem, you can help somebody else find their inner resources, well then you feel uplifted. It's hand in hand, it's reciprocal. So I've definitely found that.
Oh, that's amazing. It's interesting that you should share this because you are one of probably 3 people that I have met who have the condition of fibromyalgia, and they have not allowed it to stop them from doing what they have to do. I also know other people that have other conditions, lupus, and they continue to live a full life in spite of the condition. And the thing is, not all of them are Christian. Yeah. Most of them are because that's mainly who I associate with, but not all of them are. But they all have the same thing that you mentioned, and that is that you have to have determination to get past where you are now and understand that you can still be useful. You can still contribute massively, or even if it's just a drop in the water, but the pebble in the water causes a small ripple to begin with, but then that ripple gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have to be determined and understand that your life has purpose. That's what you said. Your life has purpose. And if you can embrace the fact that your life has purpose and actively, as you said again, actively go out and start seeking, taking steps to achieve and to, find out what that purpose is, then you can find yourself living an absolutely full life and not even remembering that the condition is there. I'm sure there are times that you forget.
There are times, and I will say that I don't want to. It's difficult, and I'm not going to pretend. It is difficult, and there are days when it's very, very hard, particularly when you want to do things with the children, or you want to do things with the fact you're invited somewhere and you want to participate. But it's about recognizing what you can do today and what you can do tomorrow. Maybe today's not the day, but tomorrow I may feel different. Today I might not be able to walk very far, but tomorrow I'll be walking some hills. So it's about taking each day as it comes and really just being grateful for everything. I think, being able to practice the art of gratitude on a daily basis and being thankful that I woke up this morning, that I can hear, that I can see my children, that I can teach my children. There's so many things to be grateful for despite the pain and discomfort that you're feeling. And actually, that is what helps me to keep going day after day after day. And learning also that how we think about things. I know this may be something that you're used to hearing about, the power of words and the things that you say. You speak things into existence, and so you really must be conscious of the language that you're using. But we also need to think about our thoughts, and we need to have power thoughts. We need to be thinking in a particular way, reframing how we're thinking about ourselves and our experiences, so that we can speak what we need to speak out into existence appropriately, and we can reframe our experiences. And that's how I want to be able to help people. It's how I have been able to help people. And, with the life coaching, it's about having people be able to reframe the language that they're using. It's being able to be blessed to have learned and qualified in techniques that I can work with somebody in a very short period of time and transform how they came into the room in one state. They can leave the room in a completely different state because I've learned techniques that work very, very quickly and are very, very effective, more so than, yes, we can speak about what you want to achieve and what your goals are, but actually, what are some of the subconscious mechanisms that you've got going on in the background that are hindering you from achieving that goal? Because sometimes you feel like you're on a Ferris wheel to get to your destination, and sometimes it's the subconscious programming that's there. And if we can kind of get inside that and reprogram a little bit, you can accelerate very, very quickly. And so that's what I'm blessed to be able to offer to the world and to people that I work with.
Great. So you don't only work with corporations and schools, you work with private people. If I wanted to register on one of your courses, would I be able to do so?
Yes, you'd be able to do so. You'd be able to register on a private course. You'd be able to register for one-to-ones. You can find me at www.successfulnewbeginnings.com or at Successful New Beginnings. It's my Instagram handle. I'm new to Instagram. Or you can email me, successfulnewbeginnings@gmail.com. And so you can contact me in those ways. We can have a discussion about what's best for you, whether it's a group program or whether it's a one-to-one. That's
fantastic. So what is next for SNB? What's next for Shareen?
It's to continue to kind of grow and put myself out there so that people know that I'm here, because that's the other thing. I think working with organizations, I was blessed to be able to have consistent work, but it meant that I didn't really present myself on social media. So there's a lot of people that don't actually know what it is that I do. So this dialogue here is really beneficial. And also, long term, I've got plans to try and create retreats. So I'd like to be able to create retreats where somebody can come and have that complete self-care experience, mind, body, and soul. I'd like to do some for families so that families can reconnect. Because this period of lockdown has really helped my family to reconnect. We've always been close, but everybody's busy and busy bees and going in and out of the house. And we've really been able to reconnect in a powerful way. And so I'd like to be able to provide something like that for other people so that you can reconnect with your families and relationships. Something for couples. That's where
for couples. Okay. And should I now start queuing? You're getting married, aren't you?
I am getting married. Again, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to have found a life partner, somebody that can be here through the ups and the downs, somebody that supports all my, dreams and aspirations business-wise, and somebody that can be there when I'm at my very lowest health-wise, and that, we are able to be there for each other and make sure that the family can continue to progress through whatever life throws at us. So COVID's been going on, we've been quarantining, but, we've really actively worked on not succumbing to fear. Yes, this is the news and it's a bit worrying, but actually what can we focus on? What can we change? What can we create? How can we turn the situation into something positive for us and for our household? And it's been amazing having the 5-year-old home. It's been taxing. I'm not gonna lie. It's been challenging doing the homeschooling with her. However, it's also been, you're never going to get this time back. So to be able to do things and create memories with her in this time has been amazing. And we've been able to do it as a collective family. So that's been really nice.
Oh, that's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best with the wedding planning. I don't envy you. I remember what it was like when I was planning mine. But I do wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Shareen, for being on Key TV today. It has really been an absolute pleasure and honor to be talking with you and to hear about what you're into, what you're involved with. And for our viewers and listeners, we are going to pin her contact details in the comments underneath the show, Once we've wrapped it up, we're going to put her contact links there, and you will know how to reach her. So Shareen Binns, your life coach, your training facilitator, life motivator, someone that you can afford to connect with, especially if you have a disability and you want to be able to move on. She will sit with you, help you to get your CV together, talk to you about how you can explain your illnesses to your employers, and basically help you to get that step on in life that you need to get. So thank you so much for joining us today for Key TV. Shareen, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Karen, for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you all who have watched. And God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next.